home free with the duck and an eagle shooting the breeze. From paintball fields to campfire fun, you know the rowdy talk's just begun. Now kick up your feet and pour a glass. We're about to have a blast. We're the rowdy ones. We're the rowdy ones. The rowdy ones.
Oh, wow. I have a weird lag.
You sound good to me. But
welcome
back.
Go ahead.
Welcome back, everyone, since I was lagging out. Tonight, July 2nd, 2026, fresh off Cincinnati. Also 2 days before July 4th and America's 250th birthday. So we could have gone a few different directions with this episode. We decided to do more or less an event recap. And, coming at you real soon, we're going to have Maddie Marshall on to not talk paintball, just to talk, America's excellence over the last 250 years. So looking forward to that. But also, just want to get caught up with all the going-ons in the professional paintball world and inside the Houston Heat camp. So,
yeah, dude. Let her. Yeah, sorry about that. I was looking at this. I just got this in, and
mesmerized by a little duck.
No, I know, right? No, but it was funny. I guess my time was different on the intro, the roll-in. And then whenever I was like, all right, I'm done. And I looked up and I was like on the screen. I was like, oh.
I'm just hearing a lot of excuses.
Not excuses, just truth. I own it, dude. There's no excuse if you own it. Like, what are you drinking on night? Let's talk about that because, America whiskey.
Yeah, I'm actually having some Irish whiskey, some Redbreast of 12. So
I can't hate you for that.
Yeah, of course you would.
Loves the Irish,
But, just having a little glass, keep this episode. Probably is not going to go too long, but I guess we'll get right into it from where we left off, Our 0-4 finish in Dover. Super disappointing. The team had moved on from Louis Betancourt. After that, we were going to run with 7 guys going into Cincinnati, which, I had faith in, not only the skill level of the individuals, but our depth at 7 and our ability to play shorthanded like that. A day or two before the layout dropped, Rob let a few people on the team know that he was going to be leaving and joining Infamous. So that
Did he let you know?
No, I wasn't one, but that's not really here nor there. But it's all good. Honestly, I want what's the best for everyone. And if someone doesn't feel comfortable in the camp anymore or wants to move on, the worst thing that can happen is them staying. So I'm thankful that he left and found a home back on Infamous, but also that if he wasn't 100% in on us, then that was the right move in both directions.
Yeah.
But it did leave us extremely shorthanded going into Cincinnati. We talked about it, whether we were just going to run 6 or 7. We decided 7 would be better just in case anyone got hurt. We didn't want to jinx anything, but, just in case anyone got hurt. And,
yeah,
there's a lot of talks back and forth about who, but, Sam just made so much sense. For one, he has familiarity with everyone on the team except for Austin. He had played with Cody on Aftershock, for a year a while back, but, you still have some familiarity there. Everyone else has had, well over a decade playing with him. So to have someone that's a utility player that can kind of move around, that already knows all the calls and that has already played with all of us and, is respected by everyone on the team was a huge acquisition for us. So, last minute, grabbed Sam, headed out to NR Paintball in Baltimore to practice Ironman, Wrecking Crew. We got some points in against Jesters too. And, really excited about the field layout. Looked really fun. We started playing it, a few points in, I tweaked my groin. I was kind of running full speed in the midair to bunker someone. And then right before I landed, I'd also got shot in my landing foot. So it kind of tensed as I landed, as I planted, and I felt some pops in my groin. It was pretty uncomfortable. played through it for another 15-ish points, but really played like a back roll. Couldn't run really or cut too well. Tried to struggle through it, got in a few more situations, tried to pop a little more, and it was not getting any better throughout the day. So, as stubborn as I am normally, I had to kind of call it for the day, try to see. Hopefully, it was more of like a tightness in something else that was causing that in the groin. But I always want to hope for the best. But it was pretty painful through that weekend. So I didn't play. Just started my PT on it right away because I thought, in my own head, as long as it wasn't like a significant tear, I should be able to get back in the week. And I took it as a really good opportunity too to be able to watch a field play out so many times from like a bird's eye view instead of being on the field playing it all the time. So I was really confident that if I got healthy, I'd be able to, positively affect the outcome of games come tournament time. It just didn't shake out that way. It just wasn't healing
Yeah.
fast. I would have been a hindrance to the team.
Hmm.
So, so we come off. Now I'm having to watch and do whatever I can to help, but you feel so limited in that role. And, coming off an 0-4 event, with a bunch of changes now, again, going into the next event, and now not being able to play for the first time, in my pro paintball career, which is pretty extensive. So it was hard, but it was really rewarding to see the team come together, to see everyone play such good fundamental team paintball, have faith in each other, trust in each other, step up in, different moments. And um, we were just limited really on what we could do positionally because we
Hmm.
couldn't move too many pieces around, right? We had six guys playing, spinning every point, and they all left, huge inputs on all the games. Everyone played great. Austin, I thought, had a great turnout up the middle, as did Sam. Both Mishka and Ronnie were playing phenomenally on the Dorito side. Cody was like, just a staple in the two on the snake side and with his communication. And then Andy probably had one of, you know, probably, in my opinion, the best tournament that he's had on heat. And he's had some other peaks and things like that, but he was just so consistent throughout. He pulled out a lot of big moments. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. So, watching that all come together and us to build that trust in each other and the direction that our team was heading, that some of the things that we implemented were paying off, and they will continue to do so as long as we continue to put in the effort to have them pay off. Um, so we go into that first day, played Infamous, which is always fun. That's definitely a rivalry match when one of your players leaves and goes to that team 2 days before. And we really started off hot in that game, got off to a big lead, let them come back a little, but we had control of that game the entire time. I think we ended up winning by 4. Really confident going into the Tauntaun game, and it was a back and forth game that I thought could have gone either way. We made a couple small mistakes here and there and we ended up, losing in overtime, 3-on-3 overtime. So it's not really in the prelims. You're not even playing 5-on-5, so it's a completely different game there. But we were playing well going into the next day, 1-on-1, and we had leverage and fit. And honestly, I thought we played well both games too. Leverage again, we had control of the whole time, kind of maintained it, and then we went to play fit, and I thought we kind of blew a good opportunity at the end. But once again, we're in it the whole way through. Everyone's pulling out big moments. Andy had a really good one-on-one that put us off, I believe, in that game, or evened it out at one point in time. And we really probably should have won that game throughout most of the game. And then, we let them tie it up. And then we're playing with like a minute 20 left before overtime, 3-3.
Yeah.
And we had a really good advantage. We had a 3-on-2 with their two guys just in the snake side. And I thought we played a little tentatively in that. Uh, And those are the things you have to break out of against good teams. You have to know when to drop the hammer. Uh, you have to know when risk is worth the reward, right? Like you
Yeah.
take those percentages over going into overtime 3-on-3 with an even spread of the field. Take those any day. But that's the same thing that we had done in the past sometimes, and under different circumstances. Played on Sunday, lost 1 point games. I think because sometimes a little hesitation, a little tentativeness, uh, just not playing almost too tight, not wanting to be the person that cost you when you hadn't won in a while. I don't think that's the reason it happened this time, but little things happened the way it was. Went into overtime again, lost it. So we were 2-2, but our points for and our wins were great. Our losses were both overtime losses to teams that over the recent history have gone deep into every Sunday pretty much. So I was feeling great about where we were going to be going into Sunday. And on Sunday, we lined up against the Russian Legion, who also had a uncharacteristically bad prelims, going 2-2. Really, that the Jungle Cats game, they looked not like themselves a bit, and they looked like they had some cracks in their armor. But you watch them play the rest of the games, like they were going to be a hard team to face. They were relentlessly aggressive across the field. But I thought that matched up well with us because we had a good mix of aggression with, really good teamwork and covering zones. And we were able to speed up some points, but we also weren't letting, 17-point games happen. So I was curious, I was excited about the way we're going to match up. I didn't look at them like a 2-2 team. I looked at them, like they could have easily been a 4-0 team, just like we could have easily been a 4-0 team. Had a few things gone different, you step up in bigger moments. So knew it was going to be a battle. It was for a bit, and they pulled away, and that's just we're just working towards perfecting ourselves, right? I have to be honest with myself, and I wanted to win that event. I wanted to fight for the win, but also you can't expect to go from where we were to the top of the podium smoothly, right? Can it happen? Yes. But you also have to take the good away from it, make sure you keep progressing forward, not take any regression after you lose. And I am happy with where we're sitting, going into next event. I'll be back healthy. We'll have 7 guys. We'll see what else happens, but we got some time in between to, continue our progression of how we've been working as a new unit, and see the fruits of that labor.
And I want to chime in on a few things. First thing, this event, if you look back at points when we finished this event, the points we had from this event was literally more than the points we've had from both events. I think it was 93 before we came into this event, and then we had 104. No. And that just shows the leaps and bounds, the growth, the bond, like what's happening. It shows truth. Numbers don't lie, right? If we look at those numbers, no, did we finish where we wanted to on Sunday? Absolutely not. But if we really look at the numbers, that is leaps and bounds in a matter of a month and a half. So that's amazing in itself. And that shows what Heat is capable of. And I find that to be very exciting. I'm me, I'm a numbers guy. I like numbers. And that just makes me really excited. It puts the fire back in and really lights it. My dad would always say, kick the tires and light the fires, boys. Let's get it.
Yeah. The fire is definitely still lit because, in my opinion, this finish is still not acceptable. I mean, I want to get Heat back to, fighting for wins every event and, not struggling, not finishing middle of the pack ever. So that's the goal. That's where we're working towards. And, I'm not happy with where we're at, where we started, where we're at now. But I'm happy with the progression between the last event and this one.
Yeah, night and day. I'm happy from this event over both events. Like, it was just really good. We showed up, and we showed up that we are still a Sunday team. It may just take, a couple turnies, and that's okay. But the other thing I want to mention about Andy, lights out. Like you said, he was hitting way above his belt. He was coming out swinging, playing.
I really don't think he was. I was just going to stop you real quickly. He's not hitting above his belt, but I think he is finally coming into his own because I do think he has so much raw potential, but his, desire to be a student of the game,
Yes.
always try to learn, always take constructive criticism. He's a great teammate, and that's what's exponentially increasing his growth.
He is in
those intangible assets that he brings. So
Yeah.
I don't look at that like punching above his weight class because I think he's just, filling into it himself.
Well, I mean, I agree. And I didn't mean to make it sound like a bad thing. Andy, if you've ever gotten to be around him, he's a sponge. He wants all the growth, all the knowledge to be the best teammate, to be the best player on the field. He wants the grind. He is the grind. Like, he is that. And he is so awesome. But it was so, how exciting it was to go and see him out there just duking it out and like ripping and rolling. And he was just doing amazing. And it was really exciting to watch him. Like, I would say find another gear, right? He's clicking into more gears and going higher into that speed band where
he's thinking less and doing more.
Yeah. And it's just clicking for him. And you're like, it was really exciting to see. Although, and I know because you were on the coach stand, when he was on that one-on-one, I don't know if he realized, who was it? Was it Chavez?
Yep.
It was the first point with PB Fit. He was up against Chavez. Chavez was, if you didn't see the match, Chavez was on the Dorito side, on our side of the field. Andy was on our snake side in more of the back side, right? And they're duking it out.
Well, Andy was like in the fifth year in their side of the snake.
And then he came back.
And he was working that whole snake really well. Yeah.
Yeah. And he did come back to cut him off from the buzzer, which was absolutely smart, right? And, Andy had 2 pods on his back, and he just filled up his
think Andy might have had like 4 pods when he started this one-on-one.
He might have. You are actually right, because it was a long one-on-one, and that was a major point to win. So shout out to Andy for this. But what was funny was, like, being in the pits, we don't have to worry about being shot. So we can look around a little more, right? Andy's playing tight. He's playing smart. He's staying protected. He's holding him off. And you see Chavez picking up paint. And I was like, I don't think he knows, And then my heart skipped. Go ahead.
Yeah. As a player, I'll say you never know exactly how much paint a player has, but you can tell by how they're battling, how much they're shooting, things like that. And I also say as a professional player, like, you should never be to the point of picking up paint because like your game should be, changing as you're loading pods, right? Like, I'm shooting different when I have 5 pods than when I have 2, than when I have 1. And, when I'm down to my last hopper, I'm not just ripping through it until it's gone, and one balling more, I'm doing those things. But you do find yourself in situations where, you have to pick some paint up. But even then, if you're picking paint up, that could be because they want, 35 balls in their loader, not 30. So when you're playing against that, you can't ever assume and not if you have paint, the best thing that you can do is just dominate with your gun, stop them from peeking, play a little big so that you're, on your toes. You can go a little bit at any way, but you have the vision on them so you don't get lost. You're controlling them with the paint. You're making it so that you can get lost against them because you're not allowing them to come out. And it allows you that more freedom and them always guessing. The last thing that you can do is just like, set up someone for, an easy kill just because they're low on paint.
No, for sure. But I was like, all right. I was like looking, and I was like, Andy's got 2 on his back. He put 1 in his loader. I was like, all right, Andy's got this. I was like, Andy's good. I was like, big dog's going to eat. And then he reaches back
I popped one of those last
And he
two for
popped one,
sure.
and I was like, "It's all right." I was like, "It's okay."
He saved a third of it, and he still had a whole nother one.
He did. He like cupped it. He did cup it, and he was like, we talked about it afterwards, and he's like, "Oh shoot!" He's like, as soon as I did it, he was like, "Oh shoot!" And I was trying to hold it and save it, and it was just funny. But no, shout out to Andy because that was such a major point for us, right?
Yeah, he was just a constant thorn in their side, and he didn't have many bad deaths, and that's all you can ask from a front player.
No, 100%. And let's talk about Sam real quick. I love that dude with all my heart. He is awesome. If you've ever gotten to spend time around Sam, that dude could light up the darkest room, right? But Sam coming back, first point on a 3-man tournament, up the juice, and rolls up a 3-pack. It's like
classic run through down the middle, little this way, that way, shoot everyone.
Yeah.
Just makes it look easy, That's one of Sam's best skill sets is his mind, right? So I thought the break from paintball, sometimes that can be bad for people, it can make them rusty. But for Sam, I knew that he was going to come back rejuvenated. Didn't matter when the last time he picked up a gun was, because I think if I'm being honest, like towards the end, he was probably getting a little burnt out of it, and this little break made him realize how much he loved it. And it was very evident when he was on the field that was the case from the first point of practice through the event.
And that warms my heart so much. I got to talk to him in Dover when he was there. I was at the DLX booth, and Mama Dorothy and John. Easy now. Easy, big dog.
Yeah,
Easy, big dog.
About that.
Yeah. Mr. John Monville, they were all there, and I was talking to him. And what really, and I've just had a glimpse of y'all's brotherhood, right? 4 to 5 years now. 5, I think I'm coming on 5. But it gives a glimpse of what y'all really have is, it's about the boys. It's about the brothers. It's about all the blood, sweat, tears, laughs that y'all shared, the smiles, the time on, not only on, but off the field. Some of my favorite memories I've ever had with y'all, it's when we're going out and eating or sitting in the room after a tournament, having a beer or a drink, and just sitting there up late at night, laughing our ass off. And, that's, Sam, when I was talking to Sam, I was like, I was really sad to see you kind of throw in the towel at Dover. And Sam goes, I'm not playing with the boys. He goes, what's really in it for me? He goes, it's been my whole life with the boys. Why do I want to go share it with anybody else? And I don't think that's
and you build up so much unspoken trust with each other over that much time, and just the comfortability in silence and just enjoying people's presences without even having to always feel like you got to be on your A game. It's all those things that you take for granted until you don't have it.
Yeah, but then when you don't have it, you realize nothing else can replace it. And I think that is the most, it is the most precious thing in life if you've ever had a set of friends that you would die for, that you would give anything to be with them. It's a sacrifice. And, I think that is something very few and far between people really get in life. And if you do and you have it, I hope anyone that's listening realizes they have it, because, this has become my second home of brotherhood for me. And it's there was an empty spot in my heart, in my mind, and before y'all, before the boys, when I had that gap. And, I have to give Sam a nod for that when he told me that, because I understood.
Yeah, he even said that when he came back. Kaku's asked him, he's like, "Oh, why'd you come back?" He said, "You know, when the boys give a call, when the boys need you, you're there to help them."
That's it. He didn't miss a beat.
I mean, I
Literally.
stole that right from Letterkenny, but it's I still like it.
I mean, it's true though.
It is.
It's so true. And, I think that's a beautiful thing with seeing people like y'all so loyal. That's your brotherhood. It's your life. How many years how many years have you spent playing with Sam?
The majority of them since like 2007, 6, so 20-ish.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's amazing. And it makes my heart just absolutely full. And it makes me full to have him, like, that he's back.
Yeah, now I can't wait to actually play with him, I only got
Oh, I know. I know it was a bummer that you weren't on the field. I know it bummed you out being your first time in 24 years of pro paintball. Is that about right?
23 years in pro paintball, yeah. But I never missed an amateur either, so but yeah, it's
but it's like we talked about, when you told me you were hurt, of course I was very sad, and I'm like, okay, what can I do to help out with this? Where can I be an asset, if recovery is possible before? And, it's one of those deals. I think it's a blessing in disguise. And we talked about this, it's all on God's time. It's not our time. And when we're called to step down to see a bigger picture and be an asset in a different way, I think it's important. And it's hard.
I don't think God's trying to micromanage injuries, but yeah, I think you do have to take the best from a bad situation.
You don't know. You don't know if it's in a plan. You don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know. You don't. That's how I like to look at it, because you know what? The big plan is his plan, and it's not my plan. So that's just me. But
yeah, sucked not playing.
Yeah, but I think you brought a lot of value, though, in what you did. I think you helped being a player on a sideline that sees things as a player. I think that's a huge asset that, is really, really important. So, I would have loved to have seen you on the field and been a tool of destruction, but
it was a good field too.
It was. The next one's going to be better. The next one's going to be better. This one was compared to the next one. You
hear that, Jason? Better start to design.
You hear it, Jason? But no, I think you played a very important role, and I think it was a very good thing. So
at least I got, I lent out my gun to some of the guys sometimes. So, Old Glory got to be out on the field a little bit.
Oh yeah. Mobbing. But no, it was, I know where your heart's at and you'd rather be on the field. But like I said, I think you played a very important role.
Yeah. And I'll be back, normally I would not get things checked out because I just am stubborn and want to heal on my own time. But, I also don't normally miss events. I did get checked out after, just to make sure there wasn't, a hernia or something wrong with the hip. So they did some x-rays, fully checked me out, and, should just be the, the grade 2 tear in the abductor in my groin. So that's a very recoverable injury. With just PT, I was pretty much ready. Started that as soon as the injury started. So I have a good jump start on that. And this break until the next event is, longer than our off season. So I'll be able to have a little time off and, knock off the rust and still be back to play, some 10-man events with trauma, get some practices in and test it before we get to like a layout weekend practice. So I can completely out of the back of my mind by then, come back stronger and certainly more hungry.
100%. And I think you're going to be more pissed off and scary the fact that you missed an event.
Hope so.
Hope so. What
I
the
mean,
shit is that, dude?
I mean,
Hope so.
well, I know so, but you know.
You have a beef to show up with Legion
Well, you know that.
with old Kirill.
Yeah, Krill's my boy. I love Krill, but you know,
I know.
you gotta police your own things sometimes, and I don't care how many times I get shot or what people do disrespectful to me on the field, but you know, when I watch it happen to my teammates, like that's where I keep my list. So for sure, I can't wait.
Well, Kirill is on a list, so
Nah, he is my boy though. You know, we talk
yeah,
about it
he
after.
can still be your boy. I know
Yeah.
you talked after. He can still be your boy, but he's on a list.
I mean, in case it's not allowed, I don't actually keep a list, you know, but like, yeah, we do police ourselves.
I like how you had to explain. I don't have a list.
No list. Back there scratching it off with lipstick.
Oh. Enlighten the people on that reference.
That was from Billy Madison, you know, is what I was talking about.
I
But
know that's what.
yeah,
No, that's
yeah, Billy
exactly
was a
it.
bully, you know. Was calling people. He called the one dude that he was picking on, and you know, he was like scratched him off his kill list after that, just in the nick of time, you know.
So good, dude. I love that scene. No, but you know, and I'm thankful, and I know you did kind of lie, but I'm still thankful.
What I lie about?
You were like, Hal asked 30 times. I asked you 3. That's 3. You times 10 it, bro. Like, I was like, what in the hell? I'm like, I
That's
still
not.
appreciate it.
That's not lying. That's, you know, exaggerating.
Exaggerating the truth, which is a lie.
No, it's making a point of something. No one thought I counted to 30 for it.
You would be the person to do that. You'd be like the one person.
Yeah. But I'd preface it, be like, no, he literally called this many times. Look, and I'd show the logs.
No, I appreciated that though. And so, man, 4th of July. Got big plans?
Probably just mostly spend it with the family. Sam and Chelsea are having a little house party, so we'll go probably over there for a bit and you know, see some fireworks. Definitely the 4th of July are a little different as you're a parent of a young one over, you know, when you're living with your friends. But
Not catching brooms
fun.
on fire and stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly. Those were just normal nights. Those were just normal nights. But it's funny because there was a long period of time where, you know, I wasn't home for 4th of July. None of us were. We were usually in Europe for an event, occasionally in Canada for an event. But yeah, it always seemed like we were in Europe for the 4th of July. So, you know, me, Sam, Chad, Tim, like we came up with our own holiday and we made it, and we probably celebrated it for about a dozen years. And you know, it's still in our hearts. We don't. It just depends if we're around or not. But before, you know, we took off work. We'd celebrated just like, and that was the 4th of July. So if you ever do miss the 4th of July, I implore you to celebrate it on the 4th of June. It's just as fun. You know, dress up, wear your American flags, get fireworks, play beer darts. After you're done with that, go to some bars. Everyone fully dressed, and when people ask you, be like, "Well, yeah, it's the 4th of July." We literally turned it into a real holiday around our local area. Like everyone celebrated it. So, and I tried to get it to, you know, go national. So there were some pockets of people celebrating the 4th of July from the Americans that played over in Europe all those years. But
That's amazing.
good time. So, but I'm gonna, you know, take advantage of being home on the actual one. Lots of tube meats and, you know, pig missiles down the gullet for sure. Grilling, sweating my butt off because it's been about 98 and humid here, but it's good. Just enjoying life.
Yeah,
And the freedom and the ability to, you know, do whatever we want.
Yeah. It was funny. I was working behind the gun counter tonight. Dude comes in. He's like, "What is this?" I was like, "Oh, that's SIG." It's like I was like, "Ah, it's a SIG 320 Legion." And I picked up on his accent. I didn't say nothing. And he was like, "That's amazing. We don't have anything over in Britain." I was like, "You're a little." I was like, "You're a little bold." I said, "You gonna be here on the 4th?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Well, go enjoy our freedoms while you're free." And he was like, "Oh, I am." And I was like, I was like, "Hey, here's my Instagram. If you want to go shoot a bunch of guns," I was like, "Give me a call, dude." He was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, I hope he does too. We'll take out the big boys."
See the smile on his face when he's shooting some of your stuff.
Oh, dude, suppressed.
Well, if he does hit How Up, he'll put it up on our Instagram channel. So
I will.
Stay tuned.
I will. I hope he hits me up. Fingers are crossed.
You want something to go viral? That's it, man. Europeans loving America is in. America's on its revival tour.
I know. And what was funny was he was like, "What kind of guns do you have?" I was like, "It's probably easier to ask me what I don't have."
How much time you got?
Yeah. And he goes, "Big guns?" I was like, "Big guns." He goes, "Fast guns?" I was like, "Super fast."
Yeah.
He was like, "Suppressor." I was like, 2 of them. He was like, he goes, "I can't even think about this."
And you're like, and I kind of live in a terrible state for laws.
Yeah, it's awful, dude. It's awful here. But
you see a lot of those state laws are going to the Supreme Court right now, at least for the AR ban. So I think that's all going to get overturned soon, which is, a step forward.
Gun Owners of America, FPC, and a few other gun right, Second Amendment activists are working on it right now. So if FPC and GOA's on top of it, it don't stand a chance. It's going to get swatted so hard, it's not even funny.
I mean, it's been blatantly unconstitutional for a long time, so I'm just happy to finally see it get, put up in front of the court for that.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what the court will say.
I just hate people's argument of, they didn't, the founders didn't plan for, semi-automatic weapons and this and that. Stuff. They planned for Wi-Fi and the internet. Like, no, they plan things loosely to follow guidelines.
Well, here's the thing, right? People don't understand. Back then, triangular bayonets. Okay? If anyone doesn't know anything about a triangular bayonet, you cannot stitch it up. If you get stabbed, you will die. Second off, we're talking about cannons. Okay? They were meant to shoot into a line of people.
Oh, they had a chain between them. They'd be spinning them. Yeah.
Well, bolos were mainly what's crazy. Bolos were mainly for shooting out the main mast on ships. Mm-hmm.
But they used them on land, and
they would put forks and
all the
cutlery and crap in there. Can you imagine getting shot with a spoon at that speed? It's gonna hurt. It's gonna mess you up. And then we're talking about the people that invented grape shot. Shooting, and they called it grape shot. It wasn't the size of a freaking grape. It was about a 2-inch
cluster.
Yeah. It was a 2-inch ball that was crammed down a massive cannon and used like a shotgun. You don't think people would want... We time traveled back. George Washington said, "Here," handed him an AR. That bro would be like, "We're going to clap some red coats today." But like, he would be so stoked. Those guys would love it. Like,
yeah. And granted, not everything they did back then was right. There were still things of the time, but so I'm just saying they wrote they wrote a pretty good document. I'll say that.
Solid, rock solid. They're like, these are good. Everybody needs them. You will always have them. Second Amendment. And the first one that's amazing is the freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. People take that for granted. If you don't travel to a third world, second world country, and you don't know what it's like for speaking your mind out in public and then getting thrown into a awful jail.
The first the most important, and the second's there to protect the first,
That's it. Or wearing the wrong thing in public even, right? And dying because of that. Like, I mean, people don't understand what we've what we really have because we're so blessed to have it, and they don't know what it's like outside of here.
I know what it's like outside of here, and I love it other places as well.
I do
But
too.
I appreciate, America for what it is and for what it can be more than anything. And I'm proud to come from here, but it doesn't take away from any of the other places. And might not agree with everything from everywhere, but one thing that is a common thread throughout my lived experience is that regardless of if you like a group or not, or uh, whatever the case may be, individuals are the same everywhere. And sitting down and having face to face conversations with real people, like, individuals are good, groups can be bad.
Yeah, 100%. I think I read this to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a letter my wife, for anyone that is curious, a letter my wife wrote for me on a Memorial Day. So happened I was dropping a flag of someone who gave their life, not even for our own country. It was for another country and to protect their freedoms. It's one of those things. A lot has been sacrificed, not even just in our modern time, not even if you've served. There's people who stand up for what they believe in the rights that you were given and the rights that were earned for you to keep. And, I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this country. And it sucks so much. One of my best friends up here in Colorado, he's a liberal. Love him to death. I call him and say, hey, I need help with my house. Like, I need help doing this, help doing that. I haven't done this part on a truck before. Can you help me? Or I just need a whole extra set of hands. You know what's funny? We go duck hunting so much together. We go fishing so much. And what's funny is we talk about our views. We sit down and we have conversations because it's important to have conversations with people that don't believe or believe the same way you believe.
Oh, you should always challenge your own ideals.
100%. Because you know what's funny? My buddy and I sit down and we have these conversations. We meet in the middle more often than not. We just don't like how things are executed. And that's where we're a little indifferent. But what's funny is you sit down with someone that is on the opposite side of the table of you and you have a conversation. It's not as bad as the news makes it out to be. There's that thing, there's that old saying, divide and conquer, right? And anyone that's listening, I always implore people to talk to someone that has different beliefs. And, because what's funny is if you
and not to try to change their mind, just to explain your side,
just to
and
talk.
hear out their sides, because
Yes.
That's what's important. I think too many times we get into conversation with the means to debate instead of hear someone
seeing
out.
someone's side.
Yeah. And it's like, a lot of times people are divided over a few issues and there's so much else that's going on that matters.
Yeah, there's so much common interest, and it's one or two things that really splits people up.
Which is why, don't want to keep talking politics.
Yeah,
sorry, chasing people around, but I have a few things I would like to see implemented at some point on a national level. I think party affiliation shouldn't be on ballots, so then people can't vote straight ticket. They're forced to go in, have either some semblance of knowledge on who they're voting for, or choose not to vote for that person. Right? Yeah. I think doing that alone solves a lot of undereducated voters. You do that, you make bills be forced to be single subject at least, and not multiple things. And I think no bills should have names. They should all be just docketed as numbers, so that you couldn't be like, the Patriot Act oh, yo, you voted against the Patriot Act. What aren't you? Are you not patriotic? Do you not love the country?
Yeah, that's not
Well,
right.
no, I don't want, my freedoms impinged upon, right? So instead it was like, oh, docket 854622123 didn't pass. Okay, good. That was all in this. We can go. We can read it. So take affiliation away, take ridiculous one-sided names away, and take multi-issued bills and dilute those down into single topics. And I think we can solve a lot of things without really making many major fundamental changes.
And term limits, because insider trading is a racket.
Yeah, and there's way too many old people in the government that don't have the same interests as mine as the majority of the country as well.
Ooh, facts. We need some young people.
And I'll both sides that all day long.
So with that being said, we're wrapping up on 3/4 of an hour. I just want to wish everyone a happy and joyful, memorable 4th of July coming up. If you've made it this far, I would implore you to just kind of maybe reflect on what we truly have and what's going on everywhere else in the world. Because what we have is beautiful, and it has been fought, protected, and, needless to say, a lot of people have died for those freedoms. So, just be thankful, and be happy that we have a place where we can speak freely, do a lot of things a lot of other people can't in this world, and where you just have a voice, and you're not going to go to jail for having a voice. So with that being said,
and make sure you end the weekend with as many fingers as you started with, however many that is. It's a dangerous weekend for digits out there.
Don't pick it up after you light it. Okay. All right.
I do have a great story about almost losing some fingers, so we'll do that on another date. But
nope, you got to send it. This is the dad advice.
My dad advice is end the weekend with as many fingers as you started.
Yeah, but you got to follow it up. What happened?
Yeah, set the scene. Jason Edwards' wedding.
Oh God.
New Year's Eve, down in Georgia. We had some cocktails.
No.
Eventually, it gets the point. It's New Year's Eve, right?
A
bunch of fireworks, a bunch of 3-inch mortars. We're shooting them, doing stuff with them.
3-inch mortars. We're talking.
Yeah, big boys.
Oh, that's a Class B, dog.
Yeah. At one point in time, we were lighting them and throwing them. Right?
Don't do that, guys.
Do not do that.
Don't do that.
Fuses, go fast, but they're usually pretty predictable, right?
Don't do it.
Probably like the 6th one I lit, the fuses went, and I had enough time to go turn my head, open my fingers, explode in my face. And everyone just sees me in like a halo of magnesium that's on fire, right? And I'm like, first thing I did was like, okay, I can see, couldn't hear yet because, my bell was wrong, but I could see, my eyes were good. And I looked and I had all my fingers, which was excellent because had I not reacted fast enough to turn my head and open my hand, I was at least, losing them all
of them.
But after I, counted them, had all the fingers, could move them, was pretty happy about that. Looked at my hand, it looked like I had just been massaging a ball of lava. It was all black and like cracked and just so badly, like 3rd-degree burnt. And that sucked. And the next day that all peeled off and it was just all meat under there. But I heal fast. It was only a week back then.
Nice.
So I was like 50% skin back.
Nice. So
that was the last time I've thrown a mortar.
Good for you. I'm glad you learned a lesson.
I guess the time before that one was the last time I threw a mortar. That one just went off in my hand.
You're an idiot. We're clipping that. So I'm going to give my quick story real quick. So set the scene at the drop zone. The owners of this drop zone is a place where you go to skydive, right? So the owners of the drop zone were always very gracious every year. They bought tens of thousands of dollars of fireworks. We had them on a trailer. So I was given the opportunity to set off fireworks. I would much rather set off fireworks than watch fireworks.
Way more fun.
Way more fun. I love the chaos. I want to give people the chaos. So go out there. We're lighting it. There's just one big old boy with me. And we are we're lighting them off. And I'm like, I tell the guy, I'm like, hey, ground's unstable over here. Don't light any over here. So what's he do? Probably 5 minutes in, he goes and sets a mortar over there. Falls right over. There's a big trailer. It's an open trailer, right? It's like a car hauler type trailer with a ramp and stuff. Lights it. Falls over. I was like, that's not good. And I'm like trying to run over there to kick it because it fell towards the trailer. Didn't make it. Never stood a chance.
That had to be a hell of a show.
I'll send you the video.
Yeah. Send me
There's
the
a
video. Post it up on our Instagram, man.
Maybe.
Let the people see. If you want to see the video, comment on this.
Yeah, if you want to see the video, comment. If we get 20 comments,
how we'll put it on our Instagram then.
And you got to comment fireworks afterwards too.
Yeah,
fireworks, I want to see. So anyways,
I got some more good fireworks stories too, but the one in particular.
I'm not done.
I know you're not done.
Dude, you cut me off. Come on.
No, I'm not telling the story. I'm telling you to remind me when we have JC on because it's just as much his story as mine. So remind me about it.
I will. Firework, JC. Copy.
Yeah.
So, anyways, tips over. All hell breaks loose. Goes into the trailer with still about 70 to 75% of the fireworks of about $20,000 worth of fireworks. By the way, this was back in the early mid 2000s. So fireworks were a lot more affordable then too. So falls over and I'm like, oh no. And I start running. Boom, goes off. Trailer starts erupting. In the video, you see us running.
Why would you even make us maybe not get this video? Put it up.
Maybe. Anyways.
Definitely.
You see us running away from the trailer. And then we are engulfed by fireworks. Just like, every mortar went off. Every firework went off. We disappear in the fireworks. It was awesome. Yeah. Terrifyingly awesome.
Yeah, not recommended.
10 out of 10 don't recommend, but it was a hell of a time because I came out with only some burnt shorts and board shorts.
So anyway, keep all your fingers. Keep all your fingers.
With that being said, we love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And just have a happy, safe, full digit 4th of July.
And make sure everyone tunes in for, the greatest athlete of all time and watches Joey Chestnut absolutely crush it again this year, I'm sure, probably break his record on America's 250th. And I don't think anyone's won as many consecutive titles as that man. So.
Nah, it's going to happen, Captain. Unquestionably. They got something to fight for on this one.
Joey Chestnut crushed it. I think he's going to get 90.
You think?
He'll be high 80s.
Possible. With that being said, catch y'all in the next one.
Well, the whiskey's low and the story's all done, but we sure had ourselves some fun. From tall tales told to the last good pun, you've been rolling with the rowdy ones. Thanks for listening, y'all.